Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Taylor. I'm going to be doing some fun arts and crafts with you guys today. I'm super excited. But okay, I'm gonna give it just 1 minute, and I'm gonna start pulling some stuff out of my arts and crafts box. Let's see, I have my water cup right here. I have my brushes. Um, let's see, some glitter, scissors. I have my markers and my pencil, oil pastels, and we're really only going to be using the color white. But also in the supplies list, it said that you can also use crayons if you don't have oil pastels. They'll serve the same purpose since they're both kind of similar, but they'll both work for the arts and crafts activity we're going to be doing. Then I have my handy dandy watercolor palette, and I have my glue. And if you have your glitter, or not glitter, if you have your double-sided tape, you can pull that out as well. It is completely optional, and I'll get to that in a minute as to why that is. And then my paper is right here, and I think that that should be everything that we need. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to move the camera down, push it back so that you guys can see all the stuff we're going to be working with. And so the first thing that you're going to do is, oh yeah, and then I have my on the supply list that is under the post that was posted this morning. It said watercolor paper. I put watercolor paper because I assume most people probably don't have oil pastel paper, because I didn't even know pastel paper was a thing for a while. So they'll both serve the same purpose. It's okay. And if you don't have oil pastel paper or watercolor paper, then just any type of thick paper that you can find, like cardstock or anything, will also work. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take our watercolor paper or pastel paper, cardstock paper, whatever it is that you need, or whatever it is that you have. We're going to take that sheet and we're going to fold it in half like a hamburger. So we have our paper right here, folded in half. And oh yeah, let me go ahead and pull out my pastels. So I have the whole slew of pastels, but we only need the white. So I'm going to pull that one out and I'm going to set it to the side. And then the rest of you guys can go over there. And let's see. The first thing was we folded this and we're done with that. So now you're going to grab your other sheet of paper, your blank sheet. This is just a piece of printer paper, just something thin that's easy to fold will work, and as long as it's blank, okay? Because we're going to decorate it ourselves, and we'll get more into that in a bit. So you're going to take this paper and you're going to fold it in half, hot dog style. So it's like this. So we folded it in half, and then you're going to take it and fold it in half again so that you have one square like this. Okay. So now what we're going to do is grab our pencil, our handy dandy pencil, and you're going to draw a heart. And it ideally we want to make the heart as even as possible. So if you need to grab a parent to help you draw your heart or anything, that's perfectly okay. And if it's not even, after we draw our hearts and cut them out, then I'll show you how you can, fix that. So my heart's a little bit bigger on the right side than it is the left, but I will show you how to fix that in a minute. So everyone get their hearts all ready, and you're going to put your pencil away, because I think that might be the only time we really need the pencil is just to draw our hearts. And you're going to grab your scissors and you're going to cut your heart out. So you're going to cut along the lines, of course. We're going to cut out our hearts. And I'm super excited to see how everyone's turns out. Oh yeah, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but we're going to make Mother's Day cards. And let me show you what, I'm going to set this down for a second. Feel free to continue cutting. But our little Mother's Day cards are going to be so cute. They're going to look like this. And when you open it, in the middle, there's a little pop-up heart. And it says, I love you. And on the back, there's some other stuff. This little heart. So it's going to be a super cute Mother's Day card, and it's going to be perfect to just give to your mom and make her feel special on her special day. So let me go ahead and pick my heart back up. You guys are probably done cutting out your hearts, but I had to show you that because I forgot to do it in the beginning. But moving along, I'm almost done cutting this out. Perfect. So now the heart's all cut out. You're going to have 4 hearts because we folded our paper into 4 sections. We're going to have 4 hearts. We're really only going to use 3 of them, and you'll have 1 left over. So if you want to use that leftover heart to spruce up your card a little bit, maybe glue it to the front or glue it on the back, just whatever you want to do with it is perfectly okay. Just for our sake, or for our knowledge right now, just know that we're only going to use 3 of these hearts. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my hearts and I'm folding them in half. And the reason I'm folding them in half is because I'm able to get them more even whenever they're folded in half like this. So I'm going to hold it up to the camera. You can see where there's some excess on the top of the heart. What we're going to do is take our scissors and we're going to cut along where this heart is. We're going to cut both halves of the heart just to kind of even it out, okay? Because we want to get our hearts as symmetrical as possible. So I'm going to take my scissors, cutting along the smaller half of the heart. I'm going to cut off the excess of the bigger half of the heart. Okay, so I cut off the excess right there. So you can see on both sides that they're now pretty symmetrical. So we're going to open our hearts right back up now. And we have our pretty heart. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 of our hearts. Remember, we have 4, so just put 1 aside, and you can have that as a backup heart, a spare heart, however you want to, or whatever you want to do with it. It's completely up to you. I'm going to put my scissors away because I'm done with those now. And I'm going to get my trash, and I didn't bring the trash can over here, but I'm just going to set my trash to the side because the less clutter that's in your workspace, the easier it is to work. So we have our 3 hearts, and what we're going to do now is first take 1 heart. And this is the part where with the glitter, it was listed as optional. I am a glitter lover. Like, my favorite color is glitter. So you will most likely, in most of the arts and crafts we do together, I will try to find a way to incorporate glitter somehow, even if it's not necessary, because I just love it that much. So I'm going to grab my glitter and my glue bottle. If you don't have your loose glitter, don't worry. Grab your markers. and just color in the heart. So for my marker people, color it in, decorate the heart however you want it, the whole front of the heart. Don't worry about the back because we're going to end up gluing the backs down. And so no one's going to be able to see the back. So it's just going to be one side of the heart. For me, I'm going to do my glitter though. And for my glitter people, you can go ahead and grab your glue. I always use liquid glue. I don't think I'll really ever use the glue sticks just because glue bottles always give the best results because you're able to stick things down better with the glue bottles and you're able to, you know, cover more with the glue, liquid glue, and apply it as thick as you want it and make your layers or whatever you're sticking as thick as you want it to be. So I'm going to grab one of my brushes. I have my glue brush. It's already sitting, and this is the cup of water. It's already been sitting in the water, and if yours is wet, then that's fine. If it's not wet, that's fine too. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to spread my glue all over the heart. Oh, and let me grab another sheet of paper for this, just because this does make a mess. So I'm going to put my heart on this piece of paper. This is not the paper that I'm using for my card. It's just a spare sheet of paper that I'm going to use to spread the glue and glitter out. And this sheet of paper will be able to catch any excess glitter that comes off of the heart and prevent a mess because I'm not outside today. Where I'm at though, it is nice enough to be outside, not like last or when was it? On Thursday when it started raining. Where I'm at in North Carolina, it is a beautiful sunny and 84 degrees. So I'm very happy about the weather. I'm going to go swim in the pool later on and just enjoy the sunshine and heat while we have it. So I'm going to use, let's see, which color should I use? I'm going to use, I don't want a blue. I might use a couple of different glitters. I'm thinking a pink, an orange, and whoops, a pink, an orange, and a white glitter. That'll be pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and unscrew them. Oops. And I'm going to just kind of sprinkle the glitter on top. And if you want to use one glitter, that'll be pretty. You don't have to at all. For my glitter users, don't feel like you have to use the same colors that I'm using. This is just my preference right here. And for my marker people, you know, just keep on with those markers, color in those hearts. If you want to add polka dots or squiggly lines or whatever your heart desires to your hearts, you know, have at it. It's going to be so pretty. I'm super excited. Okay. So I have all of my glitters on my heart. And I'm going to just shake off that excess. And I'm going to set my heart to the side. So if you're still shaking your glitter on yours, or if my marker people are still coloring in, just go ahead and wrap up with the glitter and the marker coloring. Or if you need to take more time, then take your time. I'm just going to keep moving ahead. So I have my excess glitter. I actually have a little Ziploc baggie that I put my excess glitters into because like earlier with my example heart, this is a bunch of random colors of glitter in here, and it actually turned out really pretty on my heart. So I'm going to just keep adding to my little Ziploc baggie of glitter, If you find that that's something that you want to start doing, I think it's really cool. It's a great way to preserve your glitter, especially because glitter is not cheap. And we don't want to waste anything if we don't have to. So I'm just adding my excess glitter back into my excess glitter Ziploc baggie. And I'm going to take the air out of that. And I'm going to put that away because we are now done with the glitter. If you're done with your markers, don't put your markers away because we're going to come back to the markers. Actually, we're about to use the markers right now. So I'm going to put my extra page away because I'm done with that. And right now I'm going to grab a red marker. If you want to use a different color marker, then by all means, go ahead and use a different color. But I am going to use red and just be a little bit more traditional with my heart colors. And I'm going to go ahead and put my glitters away too, because we are done with glitter. So I'm going to grab my marker, and what we are going to do with our markers is just color our hearts red. So you're going to color both hearts red, and if you want to, or I'm doing red. If you choose to do orange, purple, yellow, green, by all means, have at it. I'm just going to stick with my red, and I'm just going to color in my hearts. I'm going to trace the outsides of the hearts. Color in the insides. Okay, I'm almost done with my first heart. There might be a couple little white spaces, but that's okay on mine. Okay, first heart is done. I'm going to set that to the side, and I'm going to start coloring my second heart now. I'm getting marker all over my table. Good thing they're washable, right? Because if this was permanent marker, I do not know what to do. Because this is a wooden table. And I don't know if, I know whenever you get marker, like permanent marker on a surface, like a countertop or something, you can usually take rubbing alcohol to actually get rid of the marker, because I learned this in my microbiology class, is that rubbing alcohol gets Sharpie and permanent markers like Sharpie off of surfaces, but I'm not sure how that would work on wood because I know it's so easy to mess up wood. So yeah, fun fact, if you guys get Sharpies or permanent marker on a hard surface, or a toy or something like that, then you can take rubbing alcohol with your parents, of course, make sure your parents know, and you can clean the surface and the marker will come off. Okay, I'm all done with my second heart. So we have our 2 red hearts and our glitter heart, or for my marker people, you have your decorated, awesome, super cool hearts. Okay, so we're just going to set our stuff to our hearts to the side for the time being. And we're going to start working on the front of our card. So everyone grab your white oil pastel or your white crayon, whatever it is that you have, go ahead and pick that up. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of color resistance. So the fun, cool thing about working with oil pastel or crayon and your watercolors is that because one's made of oil and the other is watercolors, they don't mix. So you're going to see how that plays out in just a moment whenever we start painting on top of our oil pastel. So this is going to be a little bit harder just because you're using white on a white piece of paper. So it's going to be a little bit harder to see where everything is. So just try your best to stay, right in a straight line whenever we're writing and whenever we draw. Just do your best to kind of, um, you know, keep drawing where things are supposed to go. So go ahead and get your writing utensil. And the first thing we're going to write is mom at the top, MOM. And we're going to do that in uppercase letters. And whenever you're writing mom, make sure that you really bear down on the surface or bear down on your paper and darken in as best as you can. Try to really darken in that oil pastel whenever you're or crayon whenever you're drawing and writing, because the darker it is or the more layers that you have when you're writing, the better your end result's going to be. So my paper is like a little bit of an off-white color, so it is easier for me to see whenever I write something. So I have my MO, and I'm going over it a couple of times just because we really want to layer on that oil pastel or crayon, whatever you're using. So MOM. Okay, so I'm going to hold it up even though I know you probably can't see. But up at the top right here, I have an M right here, O right here, and M on this side, okay? And I really layered on that oil pastel. And sometimes I do forget where I write stuff sometimes when it gets harder to see, but you can always take your finger and feel where that oil pastel or crayon is just so you have an idea of where things are located on your paper. So we're going to draw a flower next. So what we're going to first do is we'll find where your mom is and make sure that if you need to draw like a cute little squiggly line underneath mom, or just whatever it is you need to do, maybe take a pencil and lightly draw a line underneath where mom is like this. Super light, not hard. Don't bear down because you will erase that. So that I don't know if you can see, I drew super, super light. I can see it, so I know where mom is. So when I'm drawing my flower, I don't, start drawing into where mom is. So you're first going to draw a little circle in the middle of your page. So just not a tiny baby circle, not a too big circle, a medium sized regular old circle. And I'm going to draw that circle and I'm going to go in circles a couple times just to really get that oil pastel in there. And then you're going to start drawing your petals. So the way I do it is I do like two little half ovals going up into a little peak where they meet. So I do one little half oval and then another one so that they meet. And then I'm going to go over it a couple times. And then you're going to keep doing that all around until you have, about 5 or 6 petals. If you want more, then, by all means, if you want to just do the five, I'm just doing five. I'm sure the more you have, the prettier your flower will be, but just however you want to do your petals, have at it. So I'm on my third petal, my fourth petal, and it is getting harder for me to see where those petals are, but I've drawn flowers so much, it's kind of muscle memory for me now. But whenever I do turn my page up at an angle, it is easy to see where I've drawn things so far. So maybe if that's what you need to do, holding it up at an angle, that might help you out so you know where things are on your page as you're drawing and coloring and whatnot. So I'm going to do my last petal right here. Okay. Hi, everyone who's watching. Okay, so I'm done with my flower. Blew off the excess right there because I do have a couple of places where the oil pastel has gotten a little bit clumpy, but that's okay. So now that you have your flower drawn, and remember holding it up at that angle and looking at it from an angle once you've held it up will help you see where your white oil pastel is on your white page. We're going to take our oil pastel and draw a stem going straight down to the bottom of the page. So I do mine in the middle. Let me grab my little example here. I did mine going just in the middle of the two bottom petals going straight down. If you decided to add more petals, then you might want to do it maybe instead of going straight down, you'll want your stem to go at an angle so that it's like your flowers at an angle, or maybe you'll just want it to go straight down. It's completely up to you, but for me, I'm just going to do mine straight down. And going over it a couple times just to ensure that you have a good layer of oil pastel there. So now that we've drawn our little stem, I'm going to draw a petal similar to how we just did our flower petals, but I'm going to draw one at the very bottom of my stem. So I'm doing my little half ovals again. And then I'm going to draw a little line going in between, going in the very middle of my petal. Okay, so that is done. And if you decided that you wanted to do the line, now is going to be the time that you erase your pencil line, just because we're about to start painting and you don't want that Ooh, mine is okay, there we go. You don't want to pencil in your pretty card. Okay, so now what we're going to do is quickly we're going to set our cards to the side before we start painting, and we're going to pull our hearts back out because they've had a minute to dry a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to first fold them in half again, just so you have a good halfway line with your hearts. And don't worry about the line that's created when you fold them in half, because it's going to be inside of your card and it's going to get folded in half regardless whenever you open and close the card. So don't worry about that. Okay. So, oh, I still have some glitter coming off of my heart. Okay. So grab a black marker, okay? And pull out your 2 red hearts, your glitter heart, or if you are one of my marker people and you have your marker, your decorated marker heart, that's going to stay to the side for the time being because we don't need that right now. And on the first heart, on the left side of the heart, you're going to write the word or the letter I. So, I. Okay. I. And again, that's on the left side of your heart. And then on your other heart, on the right side, you're going to write you, Y-O-U, you. And you're going to do this in all caps. Or if you want to do lowercase, that's perfectly okay too. So you have your I and your U. And we're going to grab our glue and set our glue right by our hearts. Folding your heart all in half with the color part on the inside, you're going to, like I said, fold all the hearts in half and pull them all into a line so that they're in front of you. And what we're going to do is take our glue bottle and we're going to glue our hearts together. So you're going to, where we have our hearts folded in half, making sure that for the I is going to be laying down, and the other half, the blank side that doesn't have any words on it, is going to fold over, and the glue is going to go on the back of that heart, on the back of that half of the heart, I should say. And with our U is going to be laying down on the table. The blank half is going to again fold over, and you're going to glue the back half of that blank side of your heart. Okay, so now we're going to take our pretty decorated heart and we're going to glue the left half of that heart to our heart that says I. I'm going to open those up and stick them together. And then you're going to, on the other side, we're going to take our U heart and glue it to the other half of our pretty decorated heart. Okay, so now we're going to set these to the side so that they can dry while we continue working on our hearts. Or not our hearts, our cards, excuse me. So I almost forgot which side had the stuff on it. But remember, holding it at that angle will help you see. So mine's good and erased. I'm going to grab my water cup right here and my paintbrush. I'm going to open up my palette. Opening up my paint palette right here. You're just going to start painting over your whole card. And don't worry about trying not to get it over where the white oil pastel is. Remember, this is color resistance. Our oil pastels will resist the color of the watercolors. So you don't have to worry about that because that is the joy of mixing oil and water. Or they don't mix, I should say. So I cracked myself up, you guys. I am going to start with, you can use whatever colors you want to. I think that I'm going to go with some pinks because I love pinks and purples together. We might throw some yellow in there, but for now, I'm going to start with a nice pink color. So I'm going to grab this color right here, making sure that I get it really well on both sides of my brush because I want to do long strokes on my page. I'm going to grab a little bit more water and really get some water into that color. Again, you can use whatever colors you want to use, but for me, I want to use some pink starting out. So we're going to start painting. I love doing color resistance. The first time I actually did color resistance, I think that I was so surprised. Um, the lady who was teaching me about color resistance she's an art teacher, and she was teaching me this because when I volunteer at the hospital, this is one of the things that I do with some of the patients, and they absolutely love it. But the first time I learned about it, I was so amazed that I had her do it 2 or 3 more times just because I couldn't believe how cool it was. I couldn't believe that the two were not mixing, and I will show you in just a second actually. And make sure you keep that white oil pastel or crayon out because we're not done with it. And make sure you don't have to put it on super thick. You don't have to paint super thick. You A nice thin layer of paint will do it. The thicker it is, it will be like you are essentially like putting paint, like just covering up the oil pastel. And even though they won't mix, if you set something on top of something else, it'll just stay there. So we don't want to just have our or our watercolors just sitting in a puddle on top of our oil pastel. You really want to take that brush and thin it out so that you can see what you're writing or what you have written actually. So right now you should be able to see where it says mom. And I've been painting over it the whole time. I wasn't trying to, paint up under it and in between and around. I'm painting on top of it, and yeah. So let's keep the ball rolling and keep painting. I'm gonna grab some more of this. I did end up getting a little stain from my eraser. So when I erased my line, so I'm trying to cover that up a little bit more. Um, but I'm not going to paint my whole card the same color. I want to do mine a bunch of different colors. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of dab it um dab a napkin over the oil pastel just to kind of soak up some of that watercolor sitting on top of the oil pastel. So we have mom, like I just showed you. And I'm going to now grab a different color. I think I'm going to go with some yellow right now because yellow is such a pretty color. And I'm just going to take that over my page. Now here I am trying to not really get my watercolor inside of my flower. And the reason for that being is that I really want to paint the inside of my flower a different color than what you're seeing on the outside of the flower. So as I paint around the flower, of course, it's easier to see where I have that white oil pastel, but holding it at that angle whenever I get a little bit confused as to where my flower is really helpful to me. So make sure if you have, I'm not sure how the oil pastel, how this little trick will work if you're using cardstock or printer paper, but if you're using oil pastel paper or watercolor paper, then this trick should definitely really help you. So I'm going to continue with my yellow, spreading that all around. Everyone who's watching out there, thank you for tuning in. And I really hope you guys are having fun with the activity. And I really hope you guys are making the cards to give to your moms because they're going to absolutely love it. Whenever I was practicing this morning, I showed my mom my little practice card that I showed y'all earlier, and she was so happy. She was like, "Oh my gosh, is this for me? I love it." So yeah, I'm 23 and I made a little card that my mom loves, so you guys are sure to definitely wow your moms with this card. So I'm going to grab another color. I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to go with blue, a nice little blue color. I'm going to get a little bit more water on my brush. You really want to keep water on your brush whenever you're working with watercolors, just to be able to get most out of your painting. And at this point, let me hold it at an angle. At this point, I'm getting towards the bottom of my I'm getting towards the bottom of my flower, so I'm not worried about getting paint inside of those petals as much, although I have already gotten some yellow in there. But I'm gonna take another color to go on top of that, just because I really want it to be a different color. Um, I'm going to get some more of that on my brush. And let's see. This is where we're at so far, so you can kind of start to see the outline of the flower. But whenever we paint the inside, you'll definitely be able to see it a lot more. So if you're on, say hi. I know everyone wants to see me. I can't right now just because you won't be able to see my painting. So I'm keeping the camera down just so that my friends who are doing the craft with me as I'm live, they're able to see what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and how I'm doing it. So I'm really trying to blend where I have my colors. I don't really want to have a bunch of lines where you can see where one color starts and another one stops. So I'm getting some water on my brush. I'm not going to put any paint on my brush, and I'm just going to try kind of take that and blend it out so that it kind of looks like they flow into each other even though they're very different colors. I'm mixing warm colors and cool colors, but that's okay. Okay, so I can take this in a little bit more. And remember, whenever you get down to your stem and whatnot, because it's oil, pastel, and watercolors, they won't mix. And if they do, just take a little rag, or I have a napkin right here, and you can just kind of dab that off of your oil pastel. So for the inside of my flower, let's see, which color do I want to do? For the inside of my flower, I'm going to do a purple because purple, or like a pinkish purple color. I'm going to use this one because it looks super pretty. It looks purple in the camera, but in person it looks more pink. So what do you guys think? Is this pink or is it purple? This one right here, because in person it looks pinker to me. Comment and let me know what you think. But I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to start painting inside of my flower. I'm so excited to see how this turns out because these colors are, I think, a little bit prettier than I thought that they were going to be. What do you guys think? You like these colors so far? You can really see the flower now. I I'm getting it all over, so I'm not like avoiding getting it on the oil pastel because they won't mix, but it's turning out so good. I'm super excited. And I'm holding it at this awkward angle right here just so that I'm able to kind of see where those lines are because I don't want to take it so far out that it goes outside of the flower and then it looks funny. And I'm going to take one more color and I'm going to paint the inside of the flower or the middle of the flower a different color. I think I'm going to go with a brownish color for that. So I'm rinsing off my brush right here, my water cup, and I'm going to grab this brownish looking color for the very center. Okay. So now that we have a pretty good idea of where everything is at this point, where you see those bigger white spaces like over here and down here, we can now take our paint and go back over those spaces. So now, because now we know where exactly our flower is, our petals are, our stem is, etc., etc. So I'm going to grab my blue color again and I'm going to take it back over down here. And I'm just going to take it all over the bottom of the page down there. And if you want to use more than just this many colors on your page, then by all means, but I'm just going to stick with 3, but definitely make it as unique and as you want it to be. Uh-oh, got some of that running over into my petal. Let me grab some more of that purple color and try to mask where it's running. We're almost done with the front, and our heart should be drying fairly quickly. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Our, oh, I'm gonna raise the camera a little bit. So, mom and our flower, and it's super cute. And I know that you guys are doing a great job with me so far. So, that should only take a minute to dry. So while it's drying, let's go ahead and you can close up your paint palette for now. And I'm going to go ahead and set my water cup to the side. We're not done with our paints just yet, but I want to pull our hearts back out and take a look at those and see how those are drying. And they're drying fairly quickly over here. So let's see, I'm going to open up my card. And I know that the front's a little bit wet, but I'm not too worried about the paint smearing at this point just because my flower, the front of my card is basically dry, as you can see. So I'm not too worried about like paint coming off or anything. I just don't really want to get it on the table, but it's okay. So what we're going to do right now is grab well, we have our hearts right here. We checked on those hearts and they're doing just fine. So we're going to glue our hearts down right now. So how we're going to do that is you're going to open up your heart kind of. So where it says I and where it says you, the backs of the I and the U will get glued down onto the page in the middle. But before we do that, we're going to write Happy Mother's Day, just so that we're able to kind of center our heart a little bit more. So for that, I'm going to grab a red marker. If you want to use a different color, of course you can, but I'm just going to go with the red. And on the left side of the card, right on the back of where we have our mom, you open it up, right on the back of the front page of our card, you're going to write happy, going across the top, HAPPY. And you're going to write that in all caps, which is all uppercase letters. So HAPPY. Happy. And on the next side, on the next side, we're going to go ahead and write mothers. MOTHER. And at the bottom, like in the middle, you're going to write day. DAY. And then I'm going to write 3 exclamation marks. And you're going to take your heart and you're going to glue where I said the I and the U. You're going to glue the backs of those two in the very middle. So let me go ahead and kind of close the heart all the way. Grab my bottle of glue. And I'm going to put it in the middle of the page. So the sparkly heart is going to be kind of like your reference point for what's considered the middle of the heart. And the I is going to be on the same side where happy is. And the U is going to go on the same side as mother's. So happy Mother's Day. Yay. So you're going to take your another color marker and you're going to write a note on the inside. So it's going to say, Dear Mom. And you can write whatever it is that you want to write. So for me, I wrote, "You're the best mom in the whole world." "Dear mom, you're the best mom in the whole world." And on the other side, I don't know, you can write something simple or sweet. Like I wrote, I'm going to write, "I love you so much. I'm glad you're my mom." And you don't have to write it now. If you want to write it a little note later, that's okay. And then write a love, comma, and then my name, Taylor. Love Taylor. So you might write love Sam, love Hannah, whatever your name is. Write your name after you write love. So it's like this. And I wrote a few sentences on one side of the card, some more sentences on the other. And then on the back of the card, this is the last thing that we're going to do. You're going to grab that oil pastel and you can draw something. So if you want to draw a smiley face, draw a smiley face. I'm going to draw a heart on the very back. And I'm going to put that oil pastel away, and I'm going to just take, because it's something simple, this won't take long, just grab a paintbrush and go to town painting random colors all over the page. So I'm going to do mine kind of like an ombre effect. So I'm going to start with a darker orange. Let me show you. I'm getting my paintbrush wet. I'm going to pull it back over here since I'm right-handed. Put it on the right side of me. And I'm going to take this color right here. And I'm going to paint that at the very top. Long strokes going across the page. And because we want that ombre effect, we start with the darkest color, and our colors are going to get lighter from here. So now that I have that orange color, I'm going to get an even lighter orange color. So I had this color, and now I'm going to grab this one. And it's going to go over the heart, which is okay. And then I'm going to get an even lighter orange than that, which is what's right above that one. And we are almost finished with our whole card. And we're going to get a yellow now. Almost done. I'm so excited. And then I'm going to get an even lighter yellow than that to finish us off. And I'm going to just take that all the way down to the bottom of the page. And we are almost done. Just these last couple of strokes. Oh, I got some on the inside of mine. It's okay. And we're done. So now you can see my heart on the back, the front, mom, happy, and then you open it up. Happy Mother's Day. It has that little pretty pop-up heart right there. You can see where it says I heart you. Happy Mother's Day, what I wrote to my mom, and then the back. So we are all finished. I want to thank everyone for joining me today for our Mother's Day craft. And make sure that you are checking back every day for more fun activities and crafts and games and everything that we do here with Get Your Play Online. And we have, I think, at 4 o'clock, there will be some painting. So come back and join us for some more fun and continue to check back. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again. Have a great Sunday. See you next time.